Y'all, beautiful souls, there is a movement that is occurring right now, which is very intimately connected to narcissism. Narcissism, right? Tula tite kotinipa. Narcissism is about shame. Shame is about self-hate. Self-hate can usually occur as an occurrence in the universe from grief, from the feeling of not being enough in a situation. And what is shifting collectively in the conscious right now, collective consciousness right now, at the 8th dimensional level. At the 8th dimensional level, there is a profound movement of grief. What I'm saying by 8th dimension is there is a body, a larger cosmic body, and us as individuals are cells of that body, right? So when I'm talking about the 8th dimension, I'm talking about the bigger fractal of ourselves that we co-create in, just like the different cells in our body co-create to make this organism that is our experience, right? That's what we're talking about. So when we talk about the 8th dimension, we are talking about the character, like an ego, like a persona, a personality, or that we are collectively co-creating right now. And so what this exact juncture in time that we're in right now, post-American election, is actually about bringing the unconscious awareness into an awareness of the physical body and consciousness landscape that is geopolitics, into a truth and coherence that is, well, into truth and coherence, that which is not narcissism. That's what it's about. It's about bringing the collective consciousness into what is not narcissistic, because what happens and what has happened at the 8th dimensional level in this archetype of our consciousness is that the mother figure, the mother energy was a narcissist, was narcissistic, because it was an older iteration of the universe and it didn't get the support that it deserved as prime creator, because the universe was still experimenting, right? It was still dividing itself, still separating itself, And when you're in shame and you don't want to feel that nasty, very heavy feeling, because it just drains you and you might not even have the energy to deal with it, it's easier to escape into the mind, into thinking. And that's what so much of our culture is. It's this addiction to thinking, which really is just too much dopamine and too little oxytocin. Get more oxytocin in your life and serotonin. Do a dopamine fast, and it'll be a much smoother process. Narcissism is this kind of addiction to happiness, right? I want to make everyone happy. You won't own a home and you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Happy. Happiness and dopamine is like a rewards-based system, and because if the 8th dimensional level of grief isn't felt by us all in the collective with honesty, with love, with courage, then the narcissists keep their power, because narcissism perpetuates their self-denial of shame through emotional manipulation, essentially projecting onto an empathic healing, you know, an empathic person who's in more of an opportune space to feel, heal, and process, they project their dysfunctional, unresolved reality, their denial of shame, their denial of grief, they project it. It's like, no, that's not what reality is. I will show you, right? That is what a villain is. The villain and the hero are the same character. They just made different choices. That's a really important thing to remember. The hero has been wounded by something and makes the choice to make sure no one else is hurt the same way that they've been hurt. That's the hero. The villain has also been hurt in exactly the same way, but they decide instead to make others feel what they feel, right? And mastery is always in the balance, is knowing when you need a bit of that to get a catalyst and an appropriate trigger, when you need a little bit of that to restore the truth, which is like healing, service, to restore the truth of what the heart actually genuinely wants. I should probably do it like this way. The hero is like this. It is a higher, lower thing. The villain is a lower frequency. I mean, maybe it's more like this. I don't know. The gift of the villain is its cunningness. All right? Focus on the positives here. All right? Be real with the negatives, focus on the positives, because that's how you alchemize it. That's how you bring the hero, that's how you bring the balance, right? Actually, what I just said is the balance between villain and hero, because the villain is the cunningness, the planningness, the connivingness, which comes from a detachment of the heart and a focus on the mind. Because the mind, that's what as in the thinking intellectual brain, not the omniversal mind. I'm talking about the intellectual thinking brain. That's what the villain does. It plans, it waits, it analyzes, it gets really clear on what's going on, so that it can manipulate, and it can manipulate people to make them feel what they feel inside, right? That requires a lot of planning, right? You know, some incredible things could come from that. You know, some really like genius, like, wow, who knew the universe could spit something like that out? That can come out. That's a thing. That's right. So it's not bad. It's just, is it coherent, aligned, and harmonious with everything else in reality? Which is not the situation that we've got at the moment, right? The villain aspect is extremely unbalanced. And it doesn't need to be that way. It doesn't need to be that way. And this is what this message is about, actually, is that our commitment, to creating, our commitment to making a conscious, intentional choice with what it is that we are doing, be it the villain, be it playing out an addiction, be it playing out a dopamine addiction. If I just simply make the intention that I'm doing this because I want to learn more about who I am, I'm doing this because I want to find the truth about why I'm doing this. When we state a clear intention, we become the creator. We become the divine essence that we are, right? And then the universe can speak to us. But when we say things like, I renounce all attachment to like other people, to be free in that space of enlightenment, we are lost. We are lost. Because that's not reality. The reality is the hero and the villain come together in perfect balance and unity. Right? The hero doesn't want anyone to feel. They want to stop the trauma being perpetuated. But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. A victim always becomes what it defends against. If there is a higher dimensional level of victimhood, of unresolved grief and shame and guilt, and that where we feel victim to that and we want to make others feel what we feel because we need that love, we do, we need that love, we need that care, we need that attention in order to resolve. That's very true. But if we don't acknowledge that and we don't put the intention of like, I am exploring the ways to heal in this moment. I am seeking ways to resolve this pain within me. I am who I am in this moment. I am who I am in this moment. I am who I am in this moment. This is just the occurrence of the universe, right? Whatever the intention is, it just has to be a conscious intention. And as we purge collectively at the moment, that's what this video is about. It's this, we can correct and make more harmonious this unresolved 8th dimensional energy collectively and for ourselves in our own lives as we make this intention for conscious actions. Even if you have an addiction, it's like, I am smoking this to find out more about who I am. I'm smoking this to figure out if this is what I truly love, right? Caveat, I should have said, when I say intention, I mean loving intention. Loving intention, as best as you can muster. I am intending to find love. Might be one intention if, you know. That's a difficult thing to feel because you've never felt it growing up from a narcissistic family. And that is the theme of the 8th dimension. That's what I was talking about, the archetype, because it was such an archetype of reality. It didn't receive the nourishment it required to be confident in itself, just like a wounded inner child, right? And that is the theme that we're catalyzing at the moment collectively, right? And this is the opportunity that we have to do something about it, right? Because the story of the higher dimensions, the story of the cosmos, the story of everything that exists lives in you as your story. That's why a good story always hits home, because it's all self. It's all self. And there is no worse feeling in existence than seeing the person you could have been if you had actually taken the conscious creative choice. That feeling is the worst feeling of existence, because you weren't who you were meant to be. You didn't do what you came to do. So what's happened? Nothing's happened. Nothing's occurred. And you haven't learned anything. You haven't gained anything. And you've just hurt nothing. You know, it's lost. It's lost. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. That behavior is not worth it. You are worth it. You are worth it. You are deserving and worthy of that conscious creative choice in your life. This is the frequency that I am spreading, giving, calling out to everyone to anchor in, because the more that you anchor this in, the more reality shifts faster, quicker, more efficiently, coherently, because it is the universal reverence of resonance of who and what we are. Okay? That's what it is. So if you get this message, share this message with people. Explore this dynamic in yourself. Tahui, tuona, tai uen, yala u, kin, ka, tianua, tani, tu, su. There are no mistakes in the universe. Every time we fall off the path, it's because we're meant to fall off the path, right? We're always in exactly where we need to be. And every one of us goes through this feeling of, fuck, I've lost my potential. Fuck, I'm not where I'm meant to be. We all go through that feeling, right? Because we are all microcosms of the macrocosm. It is the universal story that we're all playing out together, right? So there are no mistakes in that sense, right? There are just the catalysts we need. We can never lose ourselves because we're always here no matter where we go, okay? No matter where we go. And this is part of why we came to Earth. We came to Earth because it's fun on one level. Because we wanted to do this, all right? That's what the universe wants. That's what the universe is. That's what it is. This is the phase conjugation of a toroidal vortex. What the fuck does that mean, David? When you have two magnetic fields come together, you know they stick, right? The reason why they stick is that this one is spinning this way, and this one spins that way, and this one spins that way. And as they spin, their fields intertwine perfectly, and they kind of like pull each other together, right? That's what makes magnets stick. That's what makes each other stick, right? That's what we came here for. That coherence. And when we forget that, that's when we try to make things cohesive. An example of trying to make things cohesive rather than coherent are the Borg from Star Trek. From any cyborg nanobot possession of the biological organism is cohesion over coherence. It is born out of a profound level of narcissism and grief from an incorrect lie about the existence of reality, which is that everything is already inherently interconnected within every proton of every atom. Truth, right? Everything is interconnected. So don't buy into the lie that is narcissism. That is unbalanced narcissism. When you're a kid, there has to be a level of narcissism because Narcissus has to look at himself in the waters. This is the myth. He has to look at himself in the waters to learn how to love himself, to learn to see who he is. There is such a thing as a healthy level of narcissism. A narcissist is someone who hasn't finished the myth of Narcissus, which is Narcissus has to fall into the water of his own reflection and die and be reborn, because death and rebirth are the same thing, as he loves himself, and he dies as he's looking at himself and loving himself. He is reborn into a mature being that loves himself innately and doesn't need to look at himself to learn to love himself, right? So that's the lesson for today. This is a big movement that's occurring. And so if this stumbles across your feed somehow and you manage to sit for these 21 minutes, thank you. And I love you. And I honor you. And we are all in this together. And we are one love. One human family. Yeah. Peace out. Much love. Oh my God. Much love. Thank you. 再见。